Excellent. Well, thank you all for joining us this evening for what I think is going to be a really interesting discussion on the Grow Rotary Through Service initiative. For those of you who are currently club presidents that may have had the opportunity to attend Midwest Pets back last March in Itasca, Illinois, you heard our main speaker tonight as one of the main speakers at Midwest Pets, Alex Johnson. And Alex really inspired me to bring home to our district this notion of Grow Rotary Through Service. If I've already been to your club for a club visit, you've heard me talk about it. We've had a couple of pieces already in our district newsletter about it. We've done, I think, a couple of mailings about it. But we're getting to the point now where we'd like to issue a challenge to our clubs to really think about how they can effectively use service projects to expand their base by working with others in the community and continue to provide and expand the great services that Rotary clubs provide. And that's what we're going to start to talk about tonight. And then Alex has graciously agreed to do a series of 3 webinars throughout the course of this month, which will be starting next week. And you'll be getting some information on signing up tomorrow, hopefully, so that you can take part in those trainings as well. We're also very pleased to have with us this evening Schreeder, our immediate past district governor. And Schreeder is in a relatively new role as an innovative club advocate for our zone. And Schreeder, maybe you could just talk a little bit about what is your new role going to entail?
Well, Alex is watching. I don't know what I said correct or not, but the role is being somewhat defined as we go along. It's a fairly new role. In my capacity as innovative club advocate, I work with Jeff Reed from 6270 to assist 3 of our districts in Wisconsin, 6220, 6250, and 6270. I look at myself as somebody, kind of a clearinghouse of new ideas, how clubs can move more towards service. Without stealing any thunder from Alex, as he said, when you sign up for the club, you didn't sign up so that you could come and meet people. You wanted to help people. You wanted opportunity. So that is the kind of removing bureaucracy as much as possible, both imagined and unimagined chains, and let people free so that they can collaborate and work with anyone they want, any organization they want, so that Rotary can further its mission.
Well, Schreeder is going to be a tremendous resource for all of us at the club level throughout our district as we move forward. And Schreeder, thank you for stepping up and accepting this leadership role. I'm also very pleased to introduce Eric Yankee in his relatively new role as our District Community Service Committee Chair. That's a position, those of you who have been around longer than me maybe remember when we had one of those, but it's been a position in name only, and we haven't really had anybody filling that position for quite some time. But my thought was, if we're really going to be serious about using service as a mechanism to grow Rotary, we really need to have someone in that role that can work directly with clubs on promoting service opportunities and getting them plugged in. So Eric, I'd like to maybe have you talk a little bit about, we've met a few times to talk about kind of your vision or our vision for the committee as we look forward. And I'm just curious to see if you have some thoughts you'd like to share with everybody here tonight.
Hi, thanks, Dave. Yes, I'm really super excited about this initiative because, and I'm sure that Barb will back me up on this, that in my 10 plus years in Rotary, so I'm kind of a youngin, but in my 10 plus years in Rotary, which have been with the Rotary Club of Greater Portage County, the one thing I would say that has really drawn people to our club to get involved has been community service. I can't remember a season or a year that didn't go by without us engaging, re-engaging, asking ourselves, what can we do next? Or if somebody has a good idea, can we get plugged into it? And it certainly inspires people to be members of our club. And my own background is and I apologize, I've had a cold for several weeks, like probably a lot of us. My own background is I retired from the university a couple of years ago now, I guess it is. After 30 years, I was a historian, a specialist in European history, and I ran our international operations at the university for about a decade, which involved a lot of international work, which was wonderful. And I was able to pioneer what was international service learning for our institution and get it to be sort of a accredited option so that students could be engaged in working in some kind of service if they want to do it internationally and be able to get it structured in a way that it could be qualified for academic credit. And it was one of my proudest things to be involved in at the university, quite frankly, to be involved in that service. And it ties back to Rotary because it was about the same time when I joined Rotary. And we, at that time, launched, for a small club, we launched into a project in Kenya where we were helping with a couple of different projects and had a chance to travel over with a couple of Rotarians to work on those projects in particularly these were well digging projects in Kenya at that point. But we've done various international. We know how hard international service projects can be to pull off for a club. And those two are incredibly inspiring. But what I've really enjoyed is watching how our club has engaged so much in Stevens Point and in the area, and doing things right locally that have really inspired people. And so that really has kept me sort of engaged and interested in my work with Rotary. What I'm doing now is I'm not retired anymore. As I mentioned before we all started, I'm actually at work right now. I've been really fortunate in that I have a new job where I help to resettle refugees in central Wisconsin. And so my work involves community engagement to help to bring people to the work of volunteering to help refugees that come to central Wisconsin. It's been very rewarding. It's very hectic work. It's a little more work than I thought I might be doing in retirement, but it's so rewarding, and it ties back to service every day. We're very proud, for instance, that we do have one Rotary Club. It's my group, Barb and the group, put together a team to co-sponsor a refugee and to be still working with them. And I want to help challenge other clubs to do things like that they can do right in their communities. So anyway, with that, I just want to say that that's kind of my background. For the committee, what I'm really hoping is to see what are the simple things that we can do as Rotary clubs. What are the simple things that we could do that just get us engaged in the community, that get us tied in with what's going on? I know a lot of clubs have sort of picked up and done things. They've done things in the past, but how can we find some of those? How can we continue sort of have a continuous engagement with the community in terms of what that means for our local, local food pantry? It can be a lot of things. It can be a lot of things that can be very simple to pull off. And then for the committee, I think what's going to be is to kind of work our way through the district and see where we can help clubs to start up and make sure that they develop a community service chair position. Someone designated in their club to kind of keep their eye on and keep their hand on the wheel for community service. We've been very fortunate every year to have someone step up and do community service leadership. I know Barb's done that for our club in so many ways, Barb, and she's president for our club this year, so she's still doing even more. But really, what is it that we can do to help those each of the clubs develop a community service chair position and to cultivate that and link across various groups in our own communities to make things happen. But I think that's about all I'd like to say for now. Dave, is there anything else you'd like to hear for now?
No, I think that's great. And thank you very much for that introduction and for some thoughts on the important role that this committee is going to play. And with that, I am very pleased to introduce Alex Johnson, who for the next 20 minutes or so is going to talk to us a little bit about kind of the concept of Grow Rotary Through Service, and then talk a little bit about the 3 webinars that are coming up. So Alex, I'm going to turn it over to you to take it away. I would ask you, if you've got a question, please put it in the chat box, and Nancy will facilitate Q&A with those questions and some other questions toward the end. So Alex, take it away.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for letting me speak to your group. As Dave mentioned, a number of you are presidents, so you might have heard me at Midwest Pats. And then I was also at your training assembly. And so we have to repeat everything because we know that Rotarians don't remember anything. And so we talk a lot about Grow Rotary Through Service. And basically it's the more service we do, the more the community, the more people, Rotarians and non-Rotarians, will be interested in making an impact and being part of Rotary. You guys can see that slide up there, right? Good.
Yep.
Well, those at the training assembly that you had, you saw this chart before. This is your district over the last 11 years. And so does anybody tell me what do they see when they look at this chart and membership?
Oh, serious trend.
A serious trend, exactly. The trend is we're losing members. And so a lot of people think, oh, so that must be the most important thing for Rotary. No, it's not. You know, we're a service organization, but we do our service through members. And so it kind of goes together. We need to have more members to do more service, to do more impact. And when we lose members, like anybody, that's where our revenue comes from. We lose money to be able to do great things. And so that 64 represents the number of members lost from last Rotary year to this Rotary year. Now, Dave is doing such a great job with having such a great leadership team. You guys are actually doing really well this year. There's been hiccups, but you're actually doing really well. So with a goal, I mean, honestly, a goal in Rotary, if people just break even, we're doing phenomenal as an organization. You know, all this super growth isn't really necessary. It's just don't lose anybody. If we don't lose anybody, Rotary grows. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And so what I want to talk about is how do we do that? And a lot of that is changing the mindset. A lot of times people say, oh, if we're going to grow, well, we need to recruit more people. Well, how's that work for us? Like, not well at all. We've been doing that for over a decade. Recruit, recruit, recruit. Well, we lose a lot of people. And we're really losing people, whether they're new Rotarians and old Rotarians, for the same reason. And part of it is we don't focus on the mission. Is anybody familiar with what you see in front of you? Unfortunately, most Rotarians don't know what it is. Yeah, we see people like the governors and PDGs know. This is our organization's vision statement, Rotary International and our club. And so when we talk about what we're about together, we see a world where people unite to take action, to create lasting change across our globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. That's the vision of this great organization. But if you notice, none of that talks about like going to meetings and having great speakers. No, what do? We get together, but the purpose of getting together is to take action to create lasting change. That's why we get together. And so part of that challenge is we kind of lose our focus of what do we do when we get together? Anybody who's ever heard me speak, I always say, how many lives are we changing right now? Well, the answer is none. We don't change lives in meetings. We change lives in service projects. So we got to focus on the service projects. And that's why Dave is saying, grow Rotary through service. And he'll tell you, what's Mike's district number? What is that, 6240? 70. He has the same theme, trying to get his clubs to do more service in order to grow. And there's a lot of different areas of Rotary that are focusing it. So a lot of people ask, well, why you? Why did I get the short end of the stick that I preach this message? Well, a few years ago when I was club president, I had the same issue. If you notice our membership, up and down, but it's down. Anybody knows the minimum for a Rotary Club is 20. When it gets below 20, then they're on life support. It's usually not a good sign. Well, when I took over presidency, we were at 21. And if anybody remember what 2020 was, that was COVID. So I had this great budget, had all these great ideas, and COVID hit. Well, we all know how that was. So we had to change our mindset and do things differently. So what happened? A lot of people, John Huco, he presented this at the International Convention in his keynote. We tripled in membership that year during COVID, not meeting. We were a very COVID sensitive club. So even on our service projects, we required masks. And then the second year, we were people like, why didn't you triple again? Has anybody's ever been part of an organization and you have like astronomical growth? There's a lot of structural issues. We had no committees when I took over. It was just a lot of people met and had some fundraisers, wrote checks, and that was it. Well, we changed as a club. So my second year as presidency was really structure, organization, developing it. So after I leave, we maintain our club. And we didn't need to triple. I mean, we have 6 Rotary clubs in our suburb. I mean, and so astronomical growth doesn't make sense. I was more interested in the other Rotary clubs growing as well. So the question is, how do we do that? And we did it through service. But something else I like to show is not only did we grow in membership, we grew in correct membership. The goal of Rotary is that all our clubs look like our community. And different communities are different. We happen to live in Plano, Texas, is a very diverse community. Well, when we started my year, we weren't very diverse. We had 21 members, 18 of them were men. So we had 3 women, 14%. There were 2 people of color, me and a Pakistani friend that I recruited. I was the first person of color in the club of, what are we? I think we're like 45 years old now. So median age was 67. I think I was like 53. Yes, 53 at this time. And I was considered one of the young people in the club. Like, we need more young people like you, Alex. You know, I'm in AARP. We need people that don't qualify for AARP. So at the end of the year, we had 63 members, 52% women, 52% people of color, and that's Asian, Hispanic. We actually, one of the things I really prided ourselves on, we had members that were immigrants from 7 different countries. And that's like South Africa, Mexico, Russia, Nigeria, Cameroon, India, Pakistan. And so we're like in fact, in the August issue of this year, the Rotary magazine, they did a blurb on our club and they took my quote that we're like the United Nations because we have so much diversity and people from different countries. And we dropped our median age to 50. We had a number of members that were teenagers. We had one person, she joined Rotary the week after she turned 18, and she had been on the board for the last 2 years. And we had a number of college students. So when people always say, when you get somebody young, send them to Rotaract. No, you need to be 18 to be a Rotarian. Let them be a Rotarian. You know, why segregate them off to another club? Let them be with the greatest service organization in the world. So we recruited young people in our club. Now, the big question is, how do we do it? We didn't just say, come join. No one's going to do that. They came to our club because of all the service. That's where all this diversity and growth came from, the service. So as an organization, like every organization, we focused on the mission. Right here is Rotary's mission, which is our mission. A lot of Rotarians don't even know the mission. Anybody that was in corporate America, in any organization, you know, what is one of the big things? Everybody needs to know the mission. You need to know the mission. We fail at that as Rotarians. Our mission, we provide service to others. Isn't that amazing? It's pretty right out there and simple. Promote integrity, advance world understanding, goodwill, peace through our fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. What have we been doing? Focusing on this last part, fellowship. So that's what meetings are, but that's not what we do. What we do is provide service to others. And so what our club did, we focused on service. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics because that's what these webinars are going to do. But to roll out, we're going to have 3 webinars over the next 3 weeks. You got to thank your district governor, Dave Anderson. He's been working on this for the last, I guess, since Pets of last year. That's when we met. And everybody knows Dave. When do you really get to know Dave? Anybody? Come on, you guys don't know your district governor?
At the bar.
At the bar. That's exactly how I got to know Dave. So you know I know Dave well. At the bar at Midwest Pets and every other event that we met at. But we took care of business. And so 3 webinars we're doing. The first one, and this is actually a super, super, super important one, and Dave's the one that asked for this webinar to be created, is developing partnerships with the nonprofits. Every community has lots of 501c3s that are doing things. A lot of us are members on the board of those 501c3s or your Rotary Club. Rotarians, we're great at writing checks. We have fundraisers, then we write checks. Well, we're writing checks to 501c3s, hopefully. and what are they doing? They're doing great impact in your community. Well, you know what the secret is? Why reinvent the wheel? Instead of creating some service project with your club to impact the community, partner with a service with a 501c3 that's already doing it. The business case has already been developed, or as in terms of like the Rotary Foundation, the assessment has already been done. That organization is doing it. They already have the structure in place. But you know what they need? We got to change that paradigm. Instead of writing the check going home and saying we're great Rotarians, which writing a check and being a great Rotarian is like tithing makes you a good Christian. We all know it doesn't happen that way. You know, it's action that makes you a good Christian. It's action that makes you a good Rotarian, not writing a check. So go to these nonprofits and say, how can we help you do what you do? And you know what most nonprofits, like all of them, need? Volunteers. They need volunteers. They have entire organizations internally, volunteer management, and they're trying to get them. Well, your Rotary Club can put together a service project that's finding volunteers to work with that nonprofit. And I'm going to show you how to do it because that's what we did. And so, and what happens when you partner with a nonprofit and you're helping them on their mission, their whole community base, because they have their own community base, whether it's employees, partners, volunteers, they're going to say, we can be part of Rotary and help this. Wow. So then they join your club to help the cause they're already in part of. So that's one webinar we're going to do next week, as a matter of fact. We're going to talk about the who, what, when, where, how to do it. Because that's a question a lot of people have. The second webinar, I'm going fast because we got to be out of here in 15 minutes, is retention and attraction. Actually, comfort and care. Jennifer Jones, the first president of Rotary International, 117 years, which is amazing. And Stephanie Urchek is going to be the second one in 2 years. Comfort and care is the key. That's her theme for this year. Well, it's actually the theme for Gordon, and McNally, who's the president next year, and Stephanie. The next 3 presidents in a row are focusing on the club experience. And really what that means is we got to keep people from leaving because we have a bigger retention problem than we have an attraction problem. We bring in lots of people into Rotary, but we lose more out of. And so this webinar, which I talked about at the training assembly, is how you can use comfort and care, one, to keep your current members. Because just because you join Rotary doesn't mean you're going to be in it for life. We know that's the case. Well, there's really some common sense things that every company does. You know, it's called HR, human resources. How do you take care of your people? Well, those same techniques work for your volunteers that are showing up. It's called customer care. When they show up at a service project, they're your customers. Well, take care of them. Be nice to them. You know, these common things, but you have to be intentional about it. Well, I'm going to give techniques that you can do as a Rotarian at an event. And when you notice I say event, yes, service projects is one, but it also applies at your meetings, at a social. A lot of people are going to different events tonight. If there's somebody there that's part of Rotary, don't just treat them like, oh, you're here, you know, get to work. You know, make them special. Somebody, and that's usually the job of a membership chair. Membership is not, you notice the title isn't recruitment chair. It's not district recruitment chair. It's membership. We're talking about our existing membership. They need to be intentional when you have events to take, if you see somebody that's off on their own, talk to them, introduce them to somebody. Yeah, they're already a Rotarian, but they don't know everybody. Well, then you do the same thing for people that are new, whether it's a visitor or a spouse. Take care of them. Be nice. That's called customer care. Anybody that's not in Rotary that shows up at a Rotary event, that's our customer. And just because someone's a spouse, usually spouses don't want to join Rotary. Took my wife I've been in Rotary almost 20 years. She just joined 2 years ago. So it took her 17 years to join. And so I don't assume spouses, June's going to join soon, right, Dave? Yeah, right.
Right.
But spouses know people. So instead of recruiting that spouse, make them a recruiter for you. Hopefully, if their spouse is in it, my wife recruited people to Rotary before she joined because she had no interest in it in the past. But because what she saw me doing, she would tell people, oh yeah, Alex is out there giving food to the poor. They're like, that's cool. Oh yeah, then she connects us. So just make sure people know what we do. We're going to talk about that in that webinar. And these are some of the techniques. This is actually a slide I use at your training. If you look at these are common business organization things that you would do at any event. But the problem is we don't do it. What do Rotarians usually do at an event? They go to somebody they know and they hang out and they talk about whatever they want to talk about. So somebody that doesn't know anybody, they're kind of left on their own, or they have one person that kind of hangs out with them. Well, we got to change that paradigm. Yes, it's great to be with your friends, but if everybody dies off, well, you're not going to have anybody left. So we want to make sure when people join, they're part of our club. Make a new friend. I remember when I go to club meetings, I purposely change the tables, sit with people I don't know, use some of these common techniques to get to know them and develop a relationship. That's what makes people want to stay in an organization. Well, then the third webinar that we're going to do involves the community. Everybody is part of the community. We are in our local community, but we also have people that aren't in Rotary clubs that are part of our community. That's the secret sauce. When you have a Rotary club that has an event, let's say they have a service project, they need 10 volunteers. What's the first thing you're going to do if you have a service project and you need 10 volunteers? Where are you going to go to get those volunteers? Anybody?
Your own club members.
Exactly. Now, if you let's say you filled up 5 with your own club members, what do you do to get those other 5? Anyone?
Spouses.
You go to another Rotary, spouses, or you go to another Rotary club. So what do we have? We have this event with 10 volunteers, and they're doing such a great job. Well, what does that do? Well, they just did a great job. None of them are going to join Rotary because they're already in Rotary. So you're not going to grow through your service, are you? You know how you grow through your service? You only need one Rotarian at the event. Hopefully that's the organizer team leader. Ideally, the other 9 will be non-Rotarians that'll show up and volunteer through your club. If you have 9 people that are being part of a service project that they feel is important and they know they're doing it through the Wausau Rotary Club, do you think they're going to have an affinity for that Rotary Club? Think they'll maybe meet people, have fun, and they'll say, wow, Rotary does this? That's the secret sauce. We need to get non-Rotarians at these service projects because those are the people that are going to join Rotary. And to get spouses and kids, those are bodies, but we know the spouse and the kid isn't going to join Rotary. So a lot of, like I'll tell you, and I used to be in charge of youth services for our district, and Interact I did for years as well. And a lot of my interactors that I worked with are the ones that they joined Rotary. But interactors in general, if you fill up your service project with the interactors, are you going to grow your club? No, because they're in high school. That's a worst case scenario. If you just need a body, ideally you want adults that have the ability of joining your Rotary Club. That's who you want to have on your volunteers. So that's what I'm going to talk about, how to get the community. Those are just people in your community. And most likely your community is bigger than your club. So there's a lot of people out there. And if you have a cause that they're interested in, they will help. And it's an easy sell. Instead of saying, come to a meeting, we have this great speaker. They're like, okay, got to get out of work. What is that? At least an hour and a half. If you're 15 minutes away from the meeting, it's probably 2 hours. You got to pay. Then you got to listen to a speaker. That's not really appealing for most people. But if you say, hey, on Saturday, we are helping this nonprofit that's serving the needy. We just need you for 2 hours. That's more doable. Yeah, you could bring your kids and your spouse as well. Really? Yeah, make it a family event. No big deal. Then it seems welcoming and it's easy for somebody to do. Well, that's an easy sell. You're not trying to sell them on Rotary. You're trying to sell them on helping the community that they already care about. Well, how do you get the word out to them? No different than a company. You do it through social media. Isn't that how all companies get the word out? They also do TV and ad, but that's way too expensive, and it's not necessary. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Google My Business. In effect, you can use all those as tools to talk about the projects that you're going to be doing and make it accessible to the community. So somebody looks on Twitter, they click a link, and they can sign up to help the poor. That's exactly how we tripled in our membership. By using social media and advertising our future projects, we built a database of over 800 volunteers. And of those 800, only 60 of them are in our club. So we have, actually it's 880. So 820 are not Rotarians. Well, we don't need them to be Rotarians. We need them to show up at our service projects and help. But we got the word out through social media and also SEO, search engine optimization, which helps get them to our website. This is what I'm going to talk about in this webinar, which I also did at your training assembly, how to utilize your website and social media to let your community know about your upcoming service projects so they could click a link and sign up and show up. Keep it simple. You don't want to make it complex. You just want them to show up and help. And so how many more minutes do I have left, Dave? Because we have 6 minutes left in the whole event. That's what I thought. So what you can do, this is what we need you to do. Get your club members to show up for these webinars, not just the club leaders, the club members. As the club members are the ones that are going to come up with the service projects, that are going to tell their friends about it. We just have to change everybody's paradigm. Now, what's awesome about this, Nancy's going to record all of these. So even if people can't make it, well, we really want them to, they can just click a link and watch it on your website. So you just need to spread the word over the next 3 weeks of getting people there, because I guarantee you, if you have service projects and you let people volunteer other than your club members and you're nice to them, they'll join your club. And it's a lot easier sell than showing up at a meeting and they have to pay money and leave work. That's another thing. Meetings are bad for people that have jobs. It's really hard. Service projects are usually nights and weekends. Anybody could do it. And so that's what you need to do. I know Eric was talking about service project ideas. This is a QR code. Anybody can look at it. It's a list. I think it's, what is it? And do you remember, Dave? It's like 300-400 service project ideas. And so nobody should ever say they don't know what to do, but to really make it simple, talk to a nonprofit. They'll tell you what those service projects will be, and they'll have it organized and structured. All you have to do, your project is to find volunteers. So the webinars, partner with nonprofits. When you talk about how to do it, how to provide comfort and care. That's for retention and attraction, and how to invite the public. So with that, I am going to end because I'm probably 30 seconds over.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. How long are the webinars going to be?
Dave?
I think we settled on up to 90 minutes with Q&A.
So we're going to leave a lot of, anybody that remembers from the training assembly, I like them to be interactive. And so there's going to be activities for you to do to kind of get hands-on. So the goal is you leave and actually start implementing. That's all. These are hands-on, not lectures. Lectures, I hate lectures, so I don't like giving them.
Yeah, and I would say the feedback we got from the district training assembly was that there just wasn't enough time with Alex on these topics. So we decided to go with 90 minutes. So cool.
I don't see any other questions in the chat right now. So we maybe want to talk a little bit more about when and how people can connect to the webinars.
Yeah, and tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, you'll be getting an email with the schedule and with a registration form. We just want to have some idea of how many people will be attending. But as Alex said, it's really important to help spread the word. This is a invitation that will go to all of the Rotary Club members in our district. So everybody will have received it, but you know how it goes. A lot of times people don't open those emails or they don't see them. So any work, any help that you can give us to let people know about that, that would be great. So just to recap, next Thursday, the 12th, partnering with non-Rotarian volunteers and nonprofits. Thursday, the 19th, using comfort and care of volunteers to retain and recruit members. And then Thursday, the 26th, using public image to get non-Rotarians to show up. And these will all be at 7 p.m. in the evening. So look for more details tomorrow in your
And that's
mailbox.
just to clarify, that's 7 p.m. Central Time.
7 p.m. Central Time. There'll also be information posted tomorrow on our website on the webinars as well. So.
All right. Okay, we have a minute left if there's any burning questions. Hope to see you all next Thursday. I do want to plug our next First Thursday event, educational opportunity, which is going to be February 2nd. And this is really awesome timing. We have somebody from our zone public image who's going to join us to talk about the different types of social media that are out there, sort of doing an overview of different types of social media and which are the best sources for different types of messages to tell your story. So that really links very nicely with the last webinar that Alex is going to provide for us. So please join us. That's February 2nd. And then March 2nd, we will be having a representative from Rotary International who's going to join us to do a tour of the Learning Center. We did this a year ago. It was really fabulous. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Learning Center, it will be a great introduction, but they'll also share updates because it is continually evolving. So just such a great resource.
Will the invite, excuse me, will the invites be sent to all Rotary members in the district or merely to those officers?
It'll go to everybody,
Okay.
all members. And Alex, can you show the QR code really quick again?
He actually
Sorry,
did, Dave. I think you were talking. So I think we're good.
Okay, good.
He did pull it back up. So yes.
You don't want me to
And-
put it back up again? Nancy?
Terry,
me to
do you
pop-
need it? Terry says yes.
Great.
All
Well,
right.
thank
I'm
you,
gonna
Alex,
drop it.
very much.
All righty. My last, as long as I have one more 2 seconds, I do want to announce that our next district assembly is going to be a One Summit, and it will be by Zoom. It is going to be on February 4th from 10 until noon. We'll be talking about how the dimensions of foundation, public image, and membership are all connected. So please plan to join us for that session. More to come. I think a save the date email already went out. So thank you so much, Alex, for joining us. You're amazing as always. Thank you all. Stay safe and I hope to see you all next Thursday at 7 o'clock.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so. Okay, so I need to stop recording. I think that so I'm getting a message that the email notification when the cloud recording is ready will probably go to